Hello and welcome to this channel where I share tips and tricks on how to get more out of X-Plane 12. And tonight I want to share with you 3 things that I wish I knew about X-Plane before I started live streaming. And so we're going to go right through those, and then we're going to plan a quick flight using the Beech Baron. So if you want to see me fly that plane, you can stick to the end and enjoy this flight. So let's dive right in. First thing I wish I knew before I started live streaming was that you can turn your account information, or you should turn your account information to private. Simply by, once you log in, you hit the drop down arrow, toggle streamer mode, and that will make your account private so that your information does not show in the live stream. Do that, you'll thank me later. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I wish I knew before I started live streaming was right here in the settings area, going to the joystick. As you know, you have many airplanes that you can choose to fly from, and you may want to configure your joystick for a particular aircraft with certain settings, and you may find that you use the same settings for the same type of aircraft over and over. So here's the active profile. You can create new profiles as you adjust the settings, and I can make a video on how I configure my Bravo, honeycomb, and my joystick. I can make another video. If that interests you, simply post a comment and I will read it, and I'll make a video and talk about how I configure it for each of the airplanes. But once you configure your profile, and you can see that I've got different profiles, started going crazy making the different profiles, then you can assign them to different aircraft. So when you go to manage, you can then again choose your aircraft. So you can choose this particular aircraft, this profile, and you can associate it with a particular aircraft. So you can see that here I've made certain associations, and so that way when you load your aircraft, it's got your presets for your joystick and so forth. So the lesson that I learned is simply when making a profile, and again, I can make a video on how I make the profiles. I choose, now I do it by category, like GA, single engine land, prop, throttle mixture setup, or turboprop, multi-engine land. And then before I organize myself, I would have one for, the citation with the Xbox controller and so forth and so forth. So I can circle back, make a video about that, and simplify the process for you so it doesn't look as crazy as mine does. And the last thing that I wish that I knew is that you can change the sound of your voice, your pilot voice. Simply click on sound and you can go to pilot's voice, and now you can be either Sally or Joey. I learned that today, as a matter of fact. So if you want to be different, you can change your voice profile, and then also you can decide where the sound goes. So when you're recording or doing things along those lines, you can then choose where the sound goes. So those are the 3 things. So just recap: set your streaming, toggle streamer mode to make your information private before you go on your live stream. Secondly, you're going to go to your joystick and you can assign and manage profiles. So you can assign different profiles to different aircraft after you create the profiles, and that will help you as you use your equipment on different aircraft. And we can make a video about that later. And then lastly was the sound. So the sound, changing your sound so you can either be Joey or Sally. I like Sally's voice, so we keep that as the pilot's voice, and that's that. So going from that point, we're gonna, if you stuck around this far, first and foremost, let me pause, slow down, because I'm a little bit excited. Just want to thank all the new subscribers who joined on this journey as I share tips and tricks on how to get more out of X-Plane 12. Each one of you that has partnered with me, it warms my heart greatly. And if you haven't done so already and you enjoy this type of content, simply consider subscribing or giving me a thumbs up. That lets me know that I'm on the right track. Now, if you stuck this far, then you're ready for our flight. So we're going to plan our flight, and this time I'm going to use the Beech Baron 58. I have not used this airplane in a long time. We're going to depart out of Newport News, Williamsburg, and I'm going to pick an area on the ramp to start out. And there we go. We're just going to, yep, right there, jets, turboprops. No, that's not where I want to be. Let's see here. Yep, props. This is a good place to start the taxi. So I'm going to start there on the field, and we're going to plan a flight, and I don't know where we're going today. We'll figure it out. So let's go. Real world, and we're going to take off at night because we're using real world time, and we're going to see what that looks like. Now, I always start with engine starting, but with the GA aircraft, yes, I can go through the checklist. I can turn on the airplane, but for the sake of tonight, we're just going to jump right in. Also, for you Mac users, I am on 26.1 Tahoe. I've come off the beta. I'm going to stay on stable, and the X-Plane 12 that I'm on is the latest release candidate. So just to give you an idea of how it runs on the system, it runs great. So we're going to dive in and see how it goes. Okay.
Newport News Williamsburg International Clearance, November 4-5 X-Ray Sierra, Beechcraft Darren, request IFR clearance to Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station.
November 4-5 X-Ray Sierra, clear to Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station. Routing as filed. Climb by Hotel Echo November Romeo Yankee 3, squawk 0705, altimeter 3026.
Cleared IFR to Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station, routing as filed. Climb via Hotel Echo November Romeo Yankee 3, squawk 0705, altimeter 3026, November 4-5 X-Ray Sierra.
November 4-5 X-Ray Sierra, reback correct, contact ground 121.9, when ready for taxi.
So last time I tried this, and this is my second take, realized that it knocked out my first two fixes on my trip, so I'm gonna just add them again so that way I'm not hunting around after departure. So the second fix was Jeff. As you can see, here's Jeffers. It's a lot easier to make those corrections when you're on the ground than when you're trying to fly in the air. So we're gonna go ahead and make those changes. And then after Earls is Plank. So we're gonna Frank correction. So we're gonna go ahead and enter that here. Okay, so this vector is one that I've got to delete. So all right, so here we go. Runway heading, and then after that, we're gonna go to JEFFR. So that's gonna work. So let's close this out. It's about as close as it can be. New. All right, there we go. Ready to taxi.
Newport News Williamsburg International Ground, November 4-5 X-Ray Sierra, request taxi from Ram Parking for departure.
5 X-Ray Sierra, information hotel current, runway 20, taxi via Romeo, and Alpha, hold short of runway 20.
Information hotel, runway 20, taxi via Romeo, and Alpha, hold short of runway 20, 5 X-Ray Sierra.
Okay, there we go. Runway 20 and climbing to 2,000 feet. So here we go. We are good to go. So let's clear this out and start taxiing out. All right. Now this plane is unique in certain ways, and I really enjoy. So I'm going to talk about some of the unique features when using this plane in the autopilot with the Bravo unit. So once we get to altitude, to get it the GPS to track, you actually have to press a button on the the autopilot console. So you cannot just, the buttons on the Bravo unit work, but this one you have to press a physical button on the autopilot for it to start tracking. So you'll see it in just a moment. All right, we're taxiing a little fast, but just trying to make up time to get us airborne. And this is my second take at doing this because the last time I didn't realize that some of the fixes on the path were taken out when I put the departure procedures.
Sierra. Contact Newport News Williamsburg International Tower 118.7.
Contact Newport News Williamsburg International Tower 118.7. 5 X-ray Sierra.
And then go ahead and check in with the controller.
Newport News Williamsburg International Tower, November 4 5 X-ray Sierra, on taxiway Alpha.
November 4 5 X-ray Sierra. Newport News Williamsburg International Tower. Hold short of runway 20. Report ready.
Hold short of runway 20. Wilco, November 4 5 X-ray Sierra.
Okay, so first things first, we're gonna set our course. So if I click on the flight plan, runway heading 206, so we'll go ahead and that'll be close to our runway heading. So let's go ahead, give him a call.
Newport News Williamsburg International Tower, 5 X-ray Sierra, ready for departure.
5 X-ray Sierra. Runway 20. Wind light and variable. Cleared for takeoff.
Runway 20 cleared for takeoff. 5 X-ray Sierra.
Heading bug with the runway. There we go. We're going to switch to the nav. GPS. Climbing to 2,000 feet. So I'm going to reduce my rate of descent as quickly as possible. Hit D. Behind this airplane, overshot my altitude and descend right back down. Alright, I've been doing a lot of switching around, so that's why I wasn't talking, but here I am. I'm climbing, going direct to my first point, climbing at 1,000 feet per minute, which is good for nighttime, climbing to 7,000 feet, just as the controller said. I did check in, and now I'm on the flight plan, so I'm good to go. So let me just click here to see the message. Set course to 123. And that's really just so that the course lines up with the direction that I'm going, so it makes sense in my mind. It's a little bit different than the Cessna when you operate that, but I love it. On course, climbing to 7,000 feet. And what I enjoy about this airplane is that, you know, some of the jets, you know, you can set an altitude, it will climb to the altitude and level off for you automatically. This airplane, you've got to keep your scan going to make sure that you don't exceed your altitude. So you got to be engaged in flying this airplane. Not to get behind it. So I think this airplane really helps to make you a better pilot, simply because you have to be engaged with the operating. So the automation helps, but you still have to stay on top of the automation. Altitude check 5,000, so I've got 2,000 feet more to go. On course, so everything's looking good. Can look out the window briefly. There we go. Make sure my lights are on. Still climbing out good. Once I'm about 500 feet from my designated altitude, I can reduce my vertical speed so that I smoothly level off without affecting the passenger. So once I hit about 500 feet, planes make their turn. Set course to 2. We're going to change the course in just a moment. I'm going to do that once I level off. Update the course to 210. Now we're level, can increase the power. So we're on course. Tracking, the GPS is going, and here's the button that you need to press for the GPS to track. You have to turn on the nav button. Without that, I find that even though you've got the GPS selected here and the nav selected up here, for some reason the GPS does not, the autopilot does not follow the GPS unless you press that nav button. So at least for me, that's how it works. Once you do that, then the plane flies according to the GPS. Now, why I enjoy this airplane? Oh my. I'm such a terrible pilot tonight. Had my flaps and approach flaps the whole time, so that's why I really couldn't go fast. But one of the reasons I really enjoy this airplane, it's an honest plane, is that look how fast I'm cruising, 160 knots plus. So you can go fast for short distances, and you can operate it single pilot, so you really don't need a co-pilot. You just need to stay on top of your flow, and clearly I was distracted. In the real world, I would have damaged the airplane, but this is what I get for trying to fly and be distracted. So we're humming along, we're doing good. I'll pull up the map right here, just to get an idea of where we're going. So again, I did a tutorial on the Avi tab. I used to call it Aviator's tab, but it's the Avi tab. And this gives you a wealth of information. You can pull up different maps. In this case, I'm going to stay with this map. So you can enhance your situational awareness. And the airport that we're landing at, I'm going to look it up, Cherry Point, so elevation is 26 feet, so that's going to come in handy as I shoot my approach. So these are the frequencies, and as I scroll down, let me go back. This is the airport, this is the layout of the airport. It's got a very interesting configuration. So there we go. I don't know why I wasn't able to scroll that for a moment. So these are runways. They're landing and approaches, the approach course, so you get that information. Also the weather, so the wind's calm. Visibility 10 clear, temperature 8, dew point 7, altimeter 3034. So it should be an easy landing. I should be able to hand fly this, and regardless of the approach that they give me, it should be a walk in the park. So famous last words. We'll see how I do with that. But again, this is why I like Avi tab, because it gives me all that information right here. So we'll close this out and we'll keep it as a quick reference. I'm going to open up the map, see where we are on the map. And there we go, we're cruising along. Now, you're probably wondering, hey, it's awfully quiet in here. Not hearing any other airplanes on the frequency. We're going to fix that right now. Go flight configuration window, and we're going to add some AI aircraft. I'm going to do 3 airplanes, and now that I've already started to sim, it's not going to affect me one way. You're going to start hearing them on the frequency in a little bit. So checking my instruments, everything looks good. Look at that airspeed. Look at that. I'm cruising.
Turn left at 035. Hilton 6702.
Delta 16702. Climb and maintain flight level 360.
Climb and maintain flight level 360. Hilton 6702.
American India 23986. Climb and maintain flight level 310.
Climb and maintain flight level 310. American India 2396.
So just out of curiosity, do you make a lot of mistakes when you fly on the X-Plane 12? I mean, as a pilot procedures, maybe you have your flows down pat, but I find that I'm learning from a lot of my mistakes, right? Every flight, I make new mistakes and then I correct them. And then next time I'm like, okay, I'll keep an eye on this area. But what I love about simulation is that you can make a mistake, you can catch your mistake, and you're not going to hurt anyone. But in a real plane, you want to make sure you're on top of your game without any distractions, because in a real plane, those mistakes, they can hurt you. So while we're up here, we might as well play along with the new weather radar. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to pick up anything because there's nothing out here. But there it is. So if there was weather, we'd be able to see it. It's a beautiful adaptation. Again, 12.3.0 is coming along great. I think we're in a third release candidate or fourth release candidate. But each one has just been an improvement over the other. I really think this is ready for prime time. That's just my personal opinion. Here we go, we're back. Had to pause momentarily to change the battery on my video recorder. So I am back. What was I talking about? Oh yes, talking about flying and learning from your mistakes. So that is me. So I'm sharing with you the real deal. If you're like me, work, full-time job, and you've got a family and you've got to balance time on the sim and all your responsibilities, so I don't have as much time to devote to perfecting the craft. But flight simming allows me to keep some of my skills sharp, so I don't mind making mistakes and catching them and just keeping my mind in the game. So please, in the comments, last time I flew, You know, I said I was going to fly VFR flight altitudes. I think I was at 10,000 feet instead of 10,005, so I messed that up, and it's not until after I published the video that I was watching it, and I was like, man, I planned a VFR flight, wrong cruising altitude, but this time we're doing an IFR flight, and I know 7,000 feet for IFR is the right altitude. So learning lots as we go and remembering a lot. One of the things that's going to help you tremendously, what's going to help you be a better pilot, is reading the manuals, the books that comes from the FAA, the Airplane Flying Handbook, the Pilot's Operating Handbook, the instrument procedures. Those books have a wealth of information. So in my spare time, I like to thumb through and read and refresh my mind with those, you know, the regs and best practices as well. That's going to help you be a better sim pilot and a real pilot as well. So what do we do at altitude? For me, I cross-check my instruments, make sure that my heading bug is set properly, and I just go through and scan the instruments. Even though I'm using the autopilot right now, I'm cross-checking everything to make sure that everything is what I call in the green. I've got something that's a little low, so we're going to take a look at it. De-icing pressure. Okay, that's cool. Not so concerned about that. Cruising along. I'm using a Logitech Extreme Pro joystick, so not my Xbox controllers now. And I've mapped some of the buttons. I can make a video about that, but I've mapped some of the buttons to pop up like the Garmin 530 really quick, and then also pop up the AV tab. So these are button controls, so I can quickly access them as well. So this allows me to quickly see, you know, information, track 210, DTK 210, ground speed 196. Again, that's why I really enjoy this airplane, and I should fly it a whole lot more, because you can get where you want to go pretty quick. I mean, you're cruising ground speed almost 200 knots. That puts you right in the category of, you know, very fast, a very slow airline, all right? But still, look at that. Next fix is 6 minutes away, and we're just hauling away, distance 21 miles. And what I like about this, it's fast enough that you can go from point A to point B really quick, but it's slow enough that you can think about what's happening. So here we go. Let's look at the different views. Nearest airports, bearings. Oh, this is awesome. Nearest intersections. So if the FAA or if air traffic control says go direct this fix, I can quickly turn towards the fix and then punch it in. Nearest NDB. Whew. Nearest VORs and their frequencies. Come on now. This is awesome. All right, here comes my So this is the flight plan. So if I want to see further out to see what it looks like, I can just zoom out and zoom in. So again, you know, without needing to buy an add-on, you've got a completely immersive experience with this stock aircraft. Today I'm flying the stock Baron, not even the enhanced flight model. It's the stock one, and the reason being is because the weather radar doesn't work on the EFM. I mean, it doesn't work like it should. I'm just, you know, the developer is probably going to roll out a an update once X-Plane 12.3.0 goes out of beta into stable. But in the meantime, if you want to enjoy this right here, you'll need to fly the stock aircraft. And the stock airplane is not too bad. I mean, I've never flown this real plane, but the performance is pretty believable. It is slightly different than the enhanced flight model, but for all intents and purposes, you can still have just as much fun with this. Here we go, we're looking ahead. Since we're on an IFR flight plan, ATC is going to give me my descent and set me up for the approach and hand me off to the tower, so I'm not as concerned as planning my VNAV and descent 30 miles, 20 miles out and so forth. So we're just gonna let them make that decision for us. All I need to remember is that I'm doing close to 200 knots, so I'm gonna have to slow this plane down before I start descending. So one thing to keep in mind, yes, it's a twin, and yes, it's got these nice, twin engines, big propellers, not huge propellers, but this fuselage is pretty slippery. So if you're descending and trying to slow down like a jet, you're gonna find that you're not gonna be able to do both at the same time. So it's probably better to slow down first and then start your descent, and then you can use your landing gear and your flaps to increase drag to further slow you down. So once you make your final power reduction, you can use those two devices to get you down to your approach speed. So it is a lot of fun once you get it dialed in just right. This plane is just a dream to fly. So we're gonna open up the map really quick, see where we are, look at the surrounding traffic. This is the winds. The winds are out of the north, 17 knots for my altitude, current altitude. So I've got a little bit of almost a tailwind, a side wind. Quick glance. All right, looking good. A minute before the turn, almost 2 minutes. Just look at the detail in this stock aircraft. I mean, this plane is very well modeled. I mean, you're getting you're getting payware quality in a stock airplane. So I'm very pleased. For those who are just getting into X-Plane 12, you really don't need to buy an add-on right away. Of course, if there's a plane that you enjoy, a developer, I'm all for supporting the developers. But to get started, you can master these airplanes and have a great time without having to buy an add-on right away. So here we go, let me update my course. So you're probably wondering, how do you set your course and get it dialed in? I use the this window, the message window. And once you get it close to it, will just go back to nav out of date or whatever that default sign is, and that lets you know that your course is pretty much close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. Ground speed is up to 200 knots. I am hauling, and that's because as we check, the winds are coming right almost behind us now, or sort of a tailwind, so we're cruising. Take a look again. Distance 10 minutes to the next fix. So sometime between now and there, they're going to give me my initial descent to come into the airport. So that's what I'm thinking of, and now I'm going to familiarize myself with the airport. So the winds are out of the northwest, so more than likely I'm going to get a landing into runway 32. 32 is going to probably get me more into the wind. So what I can do is simply look at the approaches for 32. So there are no arrivals, so we can go to the approach. And looking at 32, well, I am a civilian aircraft, so 32 probably going to get an RNAV to 32 left, or a tack hand more, no, probably an RNAV to 32 left. So we're going to start here and look at that procedure and see what that's like. So RNAV into 32, going to have to descend down to an altitude of, a hold is 2,800 feet to 6,000 feet, and an initial approach fix is junior, I believe, and cross that and then descend down to the final approach fix. So here we're going to be at a minimum of 1,600 feet and then start to descend. So let's take a look at the profile. Actually, you're going to come in junior at 2,800 feet. That's a low altitude, 6,000 feet, and then start our descent to cross King at 1,600 feet. And then you should see the runway here by the time you get to this point, and then go around. Go around, climb to 600 feet, then a right turn to 2,800 feet to Hoonland. So let's take a look here on the profile. So here's probably going to be runway heading almost. So slight right turn to here and to hold. So all I need to remember is the approach course is 325 and the heading, that's the approach course, and then I'll be on altitude to make the approach. So it is an RNAV approach, so it should give me some vertical, this type of approach should give me vertical and horizontal guidance. So that's the fix that I'm looking for, junior, and then King is the final approach fix, and then into 3-2. So I'm guessing that's going to be an approach, but we'll see. We'll see. Winds are calm, so that's hard. With winds being calm, they can give me any runway. So we'll see how that goes. Seven minutes cruising. Gonna put my storm. I'm gonna turn that off because we really don't have any weather to worry about. Checking the GPS, 6 minutes. Tuned into nav2 just to cheat, so this is great. And now nav2 gives me a bearing to the VOR, how far I am, speed, and the time to that VOR. All right, Hunan 414 to runway 14, expect. All right, so let's start getting busy. All right, approach is loaded. So our approach is loaded. Let's load it up here. So Hunan. Approach course 144. Hulan. And then coming in this way. All right. So I'm gonna have to do VNAV to Hulan. Let me do that really quick. Hulan, I should cross that at 2,800 feet. So descent. So what we're gonna do is start slowing down. think I started my descent early, but you know what? Okay, heading down to 2,800 feet. Heading towards the Hunan. I think I'm descending. I should be able to get there by the time I get there. Just increase my rate of descent. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be high. The field in sight, but I'm really high.
Washington Center, 5 X-ray Sierra, field in sight. Cleared for RNAV approach, runway 14 left. Contact Cherry Point Marine Courier Station Tower, 121.3, 5 X-ray Sierra. Cherry Point Marine Courier Station Tower, November 45 X-ray Sierra, on Hotel Uniform Beam Alpha November Romeo 14 Beam 4 runway 14 left.
November 45 X-ray Sierra, Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station Tower. Continue approach.
Continue approach, November 45 X-ray Sierra.
Excuse me about that. I'm on a hold. So, gotta suspend that hold. Go to the approach. I'm gonna go ahead and that's gonna be interesting. Course 2. 1 6 heading. No. There we go. Bring power reduction here. Slow down, approach flaps. High slope, gear down. We're on approach. Gonna go to approach flaps. Down flaps, there we go. Sorry about that. Again, I haven't flown this plane in a while, and I got caught up by the hole, so I went almost one turn before getting established on final. So here we are. Gonna go ahead and push the props forward. And we're gonna grease this landing. At least that I'm sure of. So we're established on final, we're descending. Look at the power. Glide slopes on, approach is armed, gears down, heading on glide slope, everything looks good. The plane is trimmed. I'm gonna keep it down. Now remember, our field elevation is 26 feet. So I can keep the autopilot engaged, probably keep it till about 500 feet, landing assured, and then I'll come off the autopilot and hand fly the rest. But everything's looking good. So once again, thank you so much for following along. If you follow along this far, I apologize for all my bad habits. Again, I haven't flown this plane in a number of months, so I'm not proficient. And of course, I haven't flown the sim every day, so I'm a little bit rusty. But this is how Rusty Pilot flies, and I thank you for being along for the ride. So again, for those who just joined, I'm just a regular dude who enjoys flight simming. So glad that you joined on this journey, that you chose to subscribe. And for the newest subscribers, we're so glad that you're here. If you enjoy this type of content, feel free to give me a thumbs up or subscribe or a comment. I read them all. So once again, thank you so much for your support in this channel. I appreciate you. So I'm just going to try to grease this landing, and then we're going to shut it down for tonight, and I will see you in the next video. So once I hit 500 feet, I'm going to take over, disengage the autopilot, and fly the rest of the approach down to the runway. So I'm not going to talk as I try to not embarrass myself with this landing. So here we go. We are good to go. Not bad for a rusty pilot. So we're just gonna bring it down to a stop. This was awesome. This was awesome.
5 X-ray Sierra. Turn right when able.
Turn right when able. 5 X-ray Sierra.
X-ray Sierra. Contact Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station. Ground 128.625.
Contact Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station. Ground 128.625. 5 X-ray Sierra.
Welcome to Cherry Point Marine Air Station.
Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station.
So glad that you flew along, and again,
Runway vacated.
thank you for watching to the end. We're gonna stop it for now, and I will see you in the next video.
Taxi Grand Star 2 via Golf. November Juliet and Hotel. November 4 5 X-ray Sierra.
Another good use of the outside flash, the white flashlight, on your playbacks at night. Now you can actually see your airplane. So if you want to know how to use a quick shortcut to turn on those lights, you can click on a video. I'll post a link in the description down below where you can find that video. Actually, that's a video that I recorded before this one that shows you how to quickly turn on your flashlight, whether you're using the red light or the white light. So not bad for a rusty pilot. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you in the next video. Happy singing. Have a great time out there.